Hello, Mrs. Dill. I chose to do my final film breakdown about the movie Gladiator. Me and you last week talked about how much we love this film, so it only felt right for me to, break it down, talk about why we love this film so much. So I chose 4 themes we went over in this class. What is the story of the movie? What are the purpose of the characters? What are some of the themes in the movie? And what is the cinematography style used in the movie? So the story. The story of Gladiator takes place in the 2nd century AD Roman Empire when a Roman general named Maximus is wrongly halted from assuming the title of Emperor of Rome by the son of a late Roman emperor named Aurelius. So I feel like Ridley Scott put the story in the 2nd century AD because, Rome was at its height of its power. So having your story set in this time period allows the story to have maximum stakes. The story of this movie is set up in a way to tell the viewer that life is far from fair, and it takes the best of us to navigate through its difficulties. Maximus having his family killed and eventually succumbing to the stab wound sustained by Commodus is not the expected hero's journey we've become so familiar with, and I feel like that's a big part of the reason why this movie was so successful. There's also an interesting political examination that many may not catch. The entire plot of the movie is jump-started by Aurelius wanting to have Rome transition back to being a republic. Having Commodus be portrayed as an unstable maniac seems to me that Scott is critiquing the hereditary line of succession in a negative way. We hear the quote, "There was once a dream that was Rome." And I feel like that dream could be the political situation of a Roman republic. Imperial forms of governance are too far often left to the whim of the mental makeup of his leader, leaving them vulnerable to terrible bouts of decision making. Overall, having the mass identify with Maximus over the emperor could be a really subtle way of attacking despotism. What are the purpose of the characters? I think Scott uses his characters masterfully in juxtaposing how different those in power can be. So Maximus is a general, he is a man of the people. He's given blood, he's given sweat, tears, and much more for the glory of the Roman Imperium. Commodus, however, is the amoral, power-hungry son of the late emperor who will stop at nothing to get to and stay on the throne. Then you have the senatorial characters in the background quietly maneuvering to get things done, House card style. This reminds me of the world today because it is the world today. We are the same people as the Romans, merely more advanced. To further break the characters down, Maximus is used as the eyes and ears of the story. Most of the movie is seen through his vantage point as he is the main character. Commodus is used to drive the plot by murdering his father and his continuous throwing of the lavish games. The majority of the film's actions can be attributed to his actions. Lastly, the senators are used to give the plot some weight by setting up one of the most important plot points of the movie, the attempted overthrow of the emperor. It gives the movie stake towards the end, as it leaves the viewer guessing who's gonna die first, Commodus or Maximus. What are some of the themes in Gladiator? Some of the themes shown in this movie are honor, duty, power, and slavery. So a little background. The sack of Rome by the Gauls in 390 BC effectively changed the course of human history by creating a Roman society hell-bent on expansion and the subjugation of anybody they came in contact with. We can see how the military plays a big role in this movie by having Maximus as a general. He embodies the ideal of the model citizen in those times, a man who goes years without seeing his family solely for the honor this brings him. On the flip side, Maximus being placed into bondage highlights another important theme, slavery. The ugly truth of history is the expansion of many societies that we deem great today would not have been possible without the acquisition and the use of slaves. Rome's militarism was in large part due to conquering and the enslavement of new peoples to power an agrarian-based economy. And, Maximus being part of the military cog he was a contributor to this. So that's an important plot point to see, or important theme to see, you know. And you know, the power theme is very interesting because I feel like viewers were able to see just the pure scheming that went on back in Rome. The Praetorian Guard, the Imperial Guard, just the guards that protected the emperor throughout the movie, where they were very important historical figures. They would even their significance. They're very significant because at some points in history they would sell the throne to the highest bidder. And you know, that just shows you back then, and even in many areas today, might made right, and who you knew could mean the difference between life and death. And lastly, what is the cinematography style used in the film? So Ridley Scott portrays this movie as an ancient epic tale. He does this by shooting in locations around the Mediterranean to give the movie a real feel. For example, the battle against the Germanic tribes to open the film features a fantastic wide shot of Roman artillery just pounding the true formations of the barbarians among the trees to give the viewer a true scale of the battle. So that scene where we just see a bunch of fireballs blasting, you know, that felt real. That felt magnificent because it wasn't CGI. That was those were real cast members in real gear actually running and doing stuff, you know. I also love the cinematography of the final fight scene between Commodus and Maximus. The camera starts with one of the most popular and common figures in the epic, the Roman people. The film's viewer is placed as an equal to the Roman spectator. We become Roman in this film. We see what happened back in those days in the Colosseum. The crowds root for Maximus, and through the crowd we root for Maximus, you know. The camera's movements are motivated solely by the consideration of showing the great extent of the Colosseum and the decadence of these games, you know. There's a point in the movie where one of the characters says, "I did not know man could build such things," you know. And I feel like part of the cinematography was to show off just the magnificence of Roman architecture, Roman style, just everything Rome, you know. The movie was nominated for Best Cinematography for a reason, because I feel like these type of films suspend reality for their runtime and transport you to its world, and this is not possible without cinematography. And you know, those are a few reasons why I just love this film, you know.